Here we are in the final video of this journey within the Marauders timeline. Now, I've been tackling past characters within this very specific timeline in the Wizarding world. Specifically, when the Marauders were in their last year in Hogwarts, leading into the rest of their life. Now, if there's time in Hogwarts, it only makes sense we tackle those faces we know and love. Those wonderful professors. There are many that would still have been there back then, and some that'd be really interesting to see in a new light. But before we get started, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark. Now, Surfshark is a VPN that allows you to protect your data from it being breached, which is amazing. But if I'm being honest, I usually use it to change my IP address so I can watch things that aren't available in my country. Like, if I wanted to watch Harry Potter right now, I simply couldn't. But if I change my location inside Surfshark to Turkey, all the Harry Potter films are there for me to watch. The nice thing about Surfshark as well is it allows unlimited devices. So use promo code BrianSeeker to get a special holiday price of 83% off as well as 4 months free. So check the link in the description below for more details. Now today we're going to tackle some classics here. We're going to tackle Dumbledore, McGonagall, Sprout, and Slughorn. So let's recast a Marauders prequel one last time. Now, the teachers we know and love should be about 10 to 15 years younger here. And although it's hard to quantify some with a number, like Dumbledore, I kinda just threw age out of the mix and went with the right look and the right feeling for these characters. I'm not looking at specific numbers or anything, because at this age, it doesn't really matter. Now first up, let's tackle the man himself, Dumbledore, the ominous figure who goes from a troubled past to a sure-footed father figure. His backstory and complicated past makes him so interesting. At this point, I think he should still be in that kind of vein where we've seen him before, but leading into where we see him in Philosopher's Stone. Now, this is much after Jude Law's Dumbledore, but before we get him in Harry's first year. That's why I went with Jared Harris, who is actually the son of our first Dumbledore, Richard Harris. And I think it's a beautiful ode to that first film. Plus, he has the talent that his father had as well. He can play that soft and understanding side, which we definitely need. I think he could really lean into that special relationship with the students that he's built, specifically Lupin, since he's aware of his condition. Either way, I think Jared Harris is a perfect mix between both Dumbledores and a wonderful link as well.
Den Fisch betrugst du nicht. Give up your foolish trickery.
This fish you cannot cheat. Matthew, please take this up to Mr. Williams and make sure he packs my white tie and tails.
I'll take care of it, Professor.
I do apologize. I'm off on a blasted lecture tour. Would you care for some tea or coffee?
So Jared Harris as Dumbledore. Next up, let's tackle Slughorn, kind of bubbling professor who's definitely made a name for himself by collecting students and bringing them under his wing. Now, he's got a thing for famous people. Not necessarily wanting to be famous himself, but he loves that connection and loves being close to it and really likes to help these students shine. Now, Slughorn is described as being fat and bald and having that walrus-like mustache, but I want to see him a little bit more in his prime here. Still hints of that, but not fully letting himself go. He should still have that classic jovial nature to him, but have that clueless perspective that Jim Broadbent really nailed with this role. Now I end up going with Hugh Bonneville, who does a wonderful job of that jovial nature, with that little bit of innocence that Slughorn has.
What's your name? Do bears even have names?
My name is...
Beg your pardon?
You try it. Mr. Brown, that is extremely rude.
Now I actually did cast him as Fudge in a previous Harry Potter recasting, but I feel like he's a much better fit here. I think he'd actually nail a younger version of Slughorn.
Gentlemen, if I have offended you in any way.
So Hugh Bonneville as Professor Slughorn. Up next, let's tackle Professor Sprout. Now, Professor Sprout has had some time on screen, but not nearly enough in my opinion. I loved her cheerful, loyal nature, but specifically that motherly vibe that she has to her, which at times she kind of seems like she's sick of some of her kids. I want that lively teacher who feels fun here and has that kind of wink in her eye. I went with Ruth Jones, who is definitely better known in the UK, but she has that friendly teacher vibe to her that you can really buy into. I can see her personality shining through in a role like this.
No, we were on a series called Fat Friends on ITV. I don't know why. Do you know why we were on that? Yeah, because we didn't really know, we weren't that friendly really early on, were we? By
You're not that
series...
friendly now.
No. Yeah. But, you know, we tolerate each other.
But
so you're not. We should say. So you're not partners. You're not together.
Oh no.
I really think she can bring out those vibes like our original Sprout, and that short fuse she kind of has, and that little bit of sarcasm. So Ruth Jones as Professor Sprout. Lastly, let's tackle McGonagall, a character who, again, I feel deserves more screen time. Maggie Smith really transformed this character on screen like very few actors could. She's my personal favorite of the professors, and a lot of that comes down to Maggie's performance. She needs to be stern, but loving. She should be rarely giving compliments or smiling that much, but you can tell there's an underlying warmth that comes across, unlike someone like Snape. I think she should be intelligent and really have a way with words. I went with Gillian Anderson, who I feel would absolutely destroy this role. She can do the cold and someone who's of authority extremely well. She's got this intelligence and this presence to her and the way she carries herself that just makes me buy into her that she'd be a great McGonagall.
I am pleased to say we are about to take a very significant step in our investigation. This is a formal declaration that from now on the inquiry will be focusing on a particular individual. Our prime suspect, Paul Spector.
I feel like she's one of the few actresses working today who could really follow up that masterful performance of Maggie Smith and not ruin the character. So Gillian Anderson as Professor McGonagall. So there are my professors within Hogwarts, and that is a wrap on our Marauders prequel series. Let me know what you'd like to see next. I did post a poll in the community tab asking if you'd like to see some new content, like again video essays, the cancelled series, or even something potentially new, like casting people in real life, like who could possibly play Mr. Beast in a live action film. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this, and let me know your choices for these characters as well. As always though, thank you so much for watching, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.